My name is Hazel, and I live in Austin, Texas. Well, I used to. For as long as I can remember, my life revolved around my dad, John, my stepmom, Linda, and her daughter, Lily. It wasn't much of a family, it was more like I was the extra piece in their perfect little puzzle that never quite fit. Dad married Linda when I was 7, and for a while, I thought things would be okay. But Linda made it clear early on that Lily, her precious daughter, was the center of her world. She wasn't just spoiled, she was entitled. Lily would borrow my clothes and never return them, or worse, ruin them. When I tried to get them back, Linda would scold me saying, "She's your sister. You should share with her." I wanted to believe Dad had my back, but he never stood up for me. Whenever Linda or Lily crossed the line, Dad would shrug it off or worse, defend them. I learned quickly that my voice didn't matter in his house. Things got worse as I grew older. Linda controlled everything, what I wore, how I acted, and even who I spent time with. If I did anything she didn't approve of, she'd unleash her anger on me, and Dad would stay silent, always choosing their side over mine. By the time I was 20, I had one goal: to go to college and build a life for myself far away from this mess. I'd been saving for years and knew Dad had set aside a college fund for me. That fund was my ticket to freedom, or so I thought. It all came crashing down on a day that started like any other. I had just gotten back from work at the coffee shop, where I'd been picking up as many shifts as I could to save for college. I walked into the house and noticed something was different. The living room was decorated like a fairy tale: pink streamers, balloons, a giant banner that read, "Happy 16th birthday, Lily." There was even a caterer setting up a buffet in the dining room. I froze. I had no idea such an elaborate party was happening. Nobody had bothered to tell me. But that wasn't new. Being left out was practically a tradition in this family. I quietly slipped into my room, not wanting to make a scene. A couple of hours later, as the party raged on, I overheard Linda and Dad talking in the kitchen. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but what I heard stopped me in my tracks. "I can't believe you spent the entire amount on this," Linda said in a hushed but excited tone. "Well, Lily deserves it," Dad replied, his voice low but firm. "Are you sure Hazel won't find out? That fund was supposed to be for her college." My heart dropped. College fund? What were they talking about? I stood there frozen as realization dawned on me. My college fund. The money I'd been counting on to escape this toxic household. They spent it on balloons and cake and decorations for a single day of Lily's life. I couldn't stay silent. I marched into the kitchen, my voice trembling with anger. "What did you just say?" They both turned to me startled. Linda looked annoyed, but Dad had the decency to look guilty, though only for a moment. "Is it true?" I demanded. "You spent my college fund on Lily's party." Dad straightened up, his face hardening. "Hazel, calm down. I didn't think you'd make such a big deal out of this. It's for your sister's happiness." For her happiness? I could barely get the words out. That money was supposed to be for my education. How am I supposed to go to college now? Dad's expression shifted from guilt to irritation. "Don't start with this attitude. You'll figure it out. College isn't everything." Lily's birthday was important, and I didn't want her to feel disappointed. I stared at him, disbelief and anger surging through me. "You didn't want her to feel disappointed. What about me? What about my future?" "You're being selfish," he snapped. "This is a family, and sometimes sacrifices have to be made." "A family?" I shouted. "I'm the only one who ever has to sacrifice anything in this so-called family. You've never cared about me the way you care about them." Dad's face darkened, his voice rising. "That's enough, Hazel. I'm not going to let you disrespect me in my own house. If you don't like it here, maybe it's time for you to leave." His words hit me like a slap. My chest felt tight, and tears blurred my vision. For a moment, I stood there stunned. Then I realized he wasn't just angry, he meant it. He was choosing them again, over me. I turned and walked out, slamming the door to my room behind me. I didn't pack much, just a backpack with a few clothes, my laptop, and what little money I had saved. As I walked out the front door, I looked back one last time. Nobody came after me. That night, I slept on a friend's couch, feeling a strange mix of pain and relief. I had lost everything I thought I could count on, but I also knew one thing for sure. I was done being their scapegoat. For a while after I left, I thought the pain of losing my family would break me. It wasn't just about the college fund. It was the betrayal, the confirmation that I had never really been part of that family. My dad had made his choice, and it wasn't me. At first, I lived with a friend who had a spare room in her apartment. I worked as many shifts as I could, juggling 2 part-time jobs to make ends meet. College was out of the question for the time being. The fund I had counted on was gone, and financial aid only covered so much. But I was determined to find a way forward. Months turned into a year, and slowly things started to change. I got promoted at the coffee shop, and I took on freelance graphic design work on the side. It wasn't easy, but it was mine. For the first time, I was making decisions for myself without anyone else pulling the strings. I started to see what life could be like without the weight of my father's neglect or Linda's constant criticism hanging over me. Still, the pain lingered. Every holiday, every birthday, I'd catch myself wondering if they missed me. Did Dad ever think about what he'd done? Did Lily ever feel the slightest twinge of guilt? I didn't reach out, and neither did they. It was as if I had been erased from their lives, just as they had erased my dreams of going to college. Then, one day, out of the blue, my phone rang. I almost didn't answer when I saw the name on a screen. Dad. My stomach churned as I debated whether to pick up. Against my better judgment, I did. Hazel, his voice came through, shaky and desperate, so different from the confident, dismissive tone I remembered. I need your help. I didn't say anything, waiting for him to explain. Things have gone bad, he continued. Linda, she left. Took Lily with her. They're living with her sister now. And I lost the house. I lost everything. I don't have anywhere to go. His words hit me like a punch to the gut. The man who had stolen my future, the man who had chosen his new family over me, was now asking for my help. Hazel, he pleaded when I didn't respond. I know I haven't been the best father. I've made mistakes, but you're my daughter, and I need you. Please, just let me stay with you for a little while. I'll get back on my feet, I promise. My mind raced. Memories of all the times he had ignored me, dismissed me, chosen them over me, flooded back. The birthday parties I wasn't invited to, the times Linda screamed at me and he said nothing, the day he spent my college fund like it meant nothing. All of it played out in my head like a film I couldn't pause. But I also felt a twinge of something I didn't want to acknowledge, guilt. He was still my father. He had raised me, at least for a while. Could I really turn him away when he was at his lowest? I didn't give him an answer that day. I told him I'd think about it and hung up the phone. For the next few days, his words echoed in my head. I wanted to believe he had changed, that he was sorry, but deep down, I wasn't sure. Was this genuine regret, or was he just looking for someone to clean up the mess he had made of his life? The internal conflict was almost unbearable. On one hand, I felt like helping him would mean betraying myself, undoing all the hard work I'd done to rebuild my life. On the other hand, if I turned him away, would I be any better than he had been to me? I talked to my friends, but their opinions only added to my confusion. You don't owe him anything, one said, her voice firm. He threw you away when it suited him. Don't let him back in now that he needs you. Another friend took a softer approach. People change, Hazel. Maybe this is his way of trying to make things right, at least hear him out. In the end, it was up to me to decide. And no matter what I chose, I knew one thing for sure. My life would never be the same after this. The day my dad called again, I knew the moment had come. I had spent the past few weeks thinking about it, weighing my options. When I saw his name flash on my phone, I felt a mixture of dread and indifference. I took a deep breath before picking up. Hazel, please, he pleaded, his voice thin with desperation. I've nowhere to go. I'm sorry. I know I've screwed up. Please, I need your help. Just for a while, until I can get back on my feet. I felt a knot form in my stomach. Everything inside me screamed to hang up, to walk away. But something foolish, kept me on the line. I listened to him ramble, telling me how Linda had kicked him out, how Lily had stopped speaking to him, how he had nowhere left to turn. I'm not asking for much, he continued, his voice breaking, just a place to stay. I'll make it right, Hazel. I promise. I felt the anger rise in my chest. The man who had torn my life apart, who had discarded me like I didn't matter, was now begging for my help. It was too much. No, I said firmly, the word feeling like the first honest thing I'd said to him in years. What? he asked, his voice thick with disbelief. I said no, I repeated, my heart pounding in my chest. I don't owe you anything, Dad. Not anymore. He fell silent on the other end of the line, and for a moment, I thought he might understand. Maybe he was hearing what I had been too scared to say all these years. But then he snapped. You're being selfish. You don't understand what I've been through. Don't tell me what I understand, I shouted back. You didn't care about what I was going through, so don't expect me to care about you now. You spent my future on your precious Lily's birthday party, and when I needed you, he chose them. You chose their happiness over mine. Now you want me to clean up your mess, to put you back in my life after everything you did. I did it for her, he yelled. I did it for my family. You don't know what it's like to love someone and want to make them happy. Maybe not the way you love them, I shot back, my voice cold and steady. But I know what it's like to be invisible. To be the one who never matters. You made that choice when you put them first, and now you're asking me to save you from the consequences of your actions. No. There was a long pause. I could hear him breathing heavily, but I couldn't bring myself to feel sorry for him. I don't want you in my life anymore, Dad, I said, my voice final. You're not my family anymore. You chose them over me, and now you'll have to live with the consequences. Don't ever call me again. Without waiting for a response, I hung up the phone. My hands were shaking, and I sat on my couch, staring at the screen. For the first time in years, I felt something that wasn't anger or sorrow. I felt free. I had stood up for myself. I had taken back my power. And no matter what happened next, I knew I could never go back to the way things were. It was over. And for the first time in a long time, I was okay with that. As I sat there, a wave of relief washed over me. It was like a weight had been lifted from my shoulders, a weight I hadn't even realized I was carrying. I didn't need to fix him. I didn't need to fix anything. The next few months were different. I surrounded myself with friends who cared about me, people who didn't make me feel small or unimportant. I threw myself into my work, focused on building the life I'd always wanted. And for the first time, I felt truly happy, free from the toxic grip of my past, proud of the woman I was becoming. I was done letting anyone, especially my family, make me feel less than. I had chosen myself, and that made all the difference.